The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Hey, these uniforms are lame, man.
This is the new cut. Y'all be fast. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
All right.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, and YouTube. And every episode of the show is available at basicallysports.tumblr.com. Now here are your hosts, Zach, Greg, and Mike. And this is Basically a Sports Show.
Win or lose, the Las Vegas Golden Knights will get a parade down the strip.
It says here that the organizers halt premature parade planning. So are they going to get the parade, or have they changed their minds and has sanity stepped in and said, no, let's not do this?
Has this changed in the time that I've
Any talk of a celebratory parade for the Golden Knights on the Las Vegas Strip is premature, the team said in a statement today. The Clark County Commission previously listed discussion on a season celebrating parade which would occur regardless of the outcome in the Stanley Cup Final on a Tuesday meeting agenda. The county stated that they had been in contact with the Department of Public Works and Metro, blah, blah, blah. The Golden Knights said they weren't involved in the talk. So as it looks, based on this article, everybody jumped the gun a little bit, which I think is even funnier.
I'm glad that they're not doing something so stupid. I was about to say this is the dumbest. I was going to say this would be even more dumb than the Browns 0-16 parade.
Well, speaking of that, I only know of one other city that ever discussed having a second place parade, and they did it, I believe, here. And the media, well, some of the media were all over it, saying that we basically celebrated losing. But then when you're from around here, what else can you celebrate? It's not like we got a lot of options.
Cleveland Cavaliers 2016 world champions?
This was before that, I believe. Although I really want to say they wanted to have a parade for the Indians after they lost to the Cubs, which was nonsense.
Well, technically, Greg, they are the American League champion. They get rings.
Yeah, they got beautiful rings, actually. Honestly, some of the AL champion or NL champion rings are better than the World Series rings. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Texas Rangers. I think it was their 2012 ring. Oh, my God, that thing's gorgeous. But I digress.
I think baseball's the only one that does that, right? I don't recall the
NFL does
seeing
conference. The NFL does conference champion rings.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. But you don't. You guys will know better than I would if you get a conference championship ring in hockey. I've never seen one.
No.
And I'm pretty sure basketball doesn't do it either.
All these guys want the actual title. Like it's like the AL, NL, AFC, NFC thing, I guess, has some sort of sense to it just because of history. But
well, baseball in particular,
nowadays I don't think so.
Baseball in particular, when you go back to when they only played each other in the World Series competitively. I mean, they had the All-Star game, obviously, but
right.
So it made a little more sense. Now it's kind of like, okay, but, you know, they still are separate leagues, blah, blah, blah. And the NFL, they do conference championship rings because, like baseball, the conference championship rings in the NFL are rings you can actually wear, whereas we have seen the Super Bowl rings are generally these gaudy monstrosities that you wouldn't be caught dead wearing.
Yeah.
They do that.
Now I'm disappointed that the Golden Knights had to come out and shut this down. I was so ready to just be angry at them again.
Although I've got you on that, Zach. You can still be angry because first comment on the story by a guy whose name is just Scott said, Knights players have done their city, fans, and everyone associated with their efforts proud. These guys deserve their parade for what they've accomplished regardless of the outcome of the Stanley Cup. What the Knights have done, coming together as a team, has been amazing and historic.
You left out a key part of that statement, Mike.
It was
the outcome of versus my Caps team.
Well, you know.
I think that having a parade is stupid for that because you haven't accomplished anything at this point. Here, it's either the accomplishment is either winning the Stanley Cup or it isn't. It isn't a partial accomplishment. It isn't, well, we got this far and that's pretty good, so let's have a parade over that. This is the hardest trophy to win in all of sports, and coming close isn't good enough. I'm sorry. Not for a parade,
okay.
not for a ring, not for anything else.
Got some more comments here to feed Zach. So, guy by the name of Patrick Graham is very calm and sensical. He says losers shouldn't have parades, period. Yes, it's a fantastic first season win or lose, but having a parade for losing just shows this organization doesn't yet know what it's doing. It's not a good look. Farrah Sweetie Pie responds, the Knights are definitely, all caps, not losers.
You're spelled incorrectly.
Spelled incorrectly. You are the loser for calling them that. Seriously, it's their first year, first professional team in Vegas, and they are in the Stanley Cup Finals. No other expansion team has done.
Wrong.
It took Washington 20-plus years to get where they are in the finals, and it only took us once. This is a great accomplishment. They worked hard on getting here at the finals at such a fast pace. The Knights totally deserve a parade, win or lose. You must be a bandwagon fan, aren't you? LOL, not a true fan.
All right, let me break this down. First off, it's not Y-O-U-R. That's possessive. It's not you're the loser. That means that I don't even know how to explain it. It's Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. You are, contraction of you are. The loser for calling them that. Secondly, they are not the first expansion team to make the Stanley Cup final. Let's stop with this bullshit. That's not true. It's simply not true.
Also, like you just said correctly, Greg, it is the Stanley Cup final.
Right.
You uncultured hack.
That was my next thing. The NBA is the finals. This is the Stanley Cup final singular.
Although I'd argue that final is wrong also, but
yeah, well, I think finals sounds better, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
I'm a professional. I do a podcast, so I've got to get it right. But
indeed.
But who? I don't remember who. Was it the Blues were the first team out of the West, the newly created West? Yeah, they were an expansion team in the Stanley Cup final or finals, either way you want to pronounce it. They were the first, not the Vegas Golden Knights of Nevada via Clark County. Sorry, doesn't work that way. So get your shit straight, Farrah Sweetie Pie. First, learn how to spell. Secondly,
on this issue of basically a sports show, Greg calls out Farrah Sweetie Pie.
Damn right.
And not surprisingly, as I read through these comments now, that comment of Miss Sweetie Pie is the most commented one, or the one that's been replied to the most, because people are like, "You're dumb. Don't be dumb."
Well, I love the next guy, Tim Brown, which would be great if it was a Hall of Fame wide receiver, although I'm sure it's not. But boy, if it was.
Tim Brown just randomly decides to comment.
You must be an inaugural season fan, because if you knew hockey, you would know players refuse to even touch the conference trophy. Well, not in this case. The only thing that matters is the cup. All caps. This isn't grade school where everyone gets a trophy or a parade. No one is saying what they have accomplished isn't impressive and amazing, but I guarantee you, if they lose, they don't want a parade. They may not say it publicly, at least while still playing, but the athletes, no, you only deserve the trophy or the parade when you can say you're the champs. That's exactly right.
I mean, like, okay, what's going to happen if they throw a parade for them and they lose? Like, that's going to be that's going to be an even sadder parade than the 0-16 parade in Cleveland. Like, it's just going to be like a float and just like a bunch of dejected Canadians standing on it as they're like, oh.
You don't have a parade for that. Like, you can have a rally. Like, go ahead, have a rally, celebrate the team for what it did all year.
Meet them at the airport when they come home after losing the next 2 games. Fine, if that's what you want to do, go ahead.
But no parade.
No. What are you parading about? I mean, seriously, what's the parade?
This is amazing.
That we came in second. Now, and I don't even know if you can even call it second necessarily. That we lost.
You lost the cup final.
You lost the cup final. Okay, congratulations.
Again, like you're just gonna have a bunch of sad hockey players standing like there. Like, what's gonna happen?
They can't even console themselves with the fact that they get some shitty conference championship ring. They got nothing. It's just like, we lost.
Well, you get a banner. I mean, that's nice.
Yeah, it's just idiotic to even have a parade. And of course, the only other place I know that's ever tried this is Cleveland, because that's what we do here. Because other than LeBron, you know how things have been.
Well, we'll talk about that later, I guess.
Yeah. If I can remember what show we're doing. I was I attempted a joke there. Yeah, the parade thing, come on. That's not necessary. And you're making what's a joke already into an even bigger joke by acting like spoiled, entitled fans that you got no claim to be.
That they're so special. That
they aren't special. The 67 Blues did the exact same fucking thing. I'm sorry.
Whether it was the 67 Blues or the 67 Kings or the 67 whoever, 67 Golden Seals, it could have, any of those teams would have had the same designation though. So we know this is different.
It is. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. But I don't want to give them credit for that.
But Zach, I'm going to quote Futurama for you. You are technically correct. The best kind of correct. Technically speaking, the Blues are the first expansion team to reach the Stanley Cup Finals.
Right. The situation's different entirely because they played nothing but other expansion teams to get there, I believe.
In the playoffs, yes.
So, okay, fine. But from, like Mike said, technically speaking, they are not the first team to do this, the first expansion team to do this. That would be my St. Louis Blues.
And technically speaking, they're not even the first team to do this in their first year, as the Toronto Arenas did in 1918.
That's correct. The Maple Leafs former Arenas 1918 won the Stanley Cup.
To be an expansion team and make it in your first year, it kind of has to be in your first year. Like, you can't do it in your second year and call it your first year.
But they were that was back during the year where you had to win the NHL and then play whoever came out of like Pacific Coast Hockey League or something.
Yeah, there's this group of hockey players in Iowa that want to challenge us for the cup. Okay.
It was fucking.
Well, it wouldn't be Iowa. What's the Iowa of
the Barnes?
Canada?
Well,
Iowa. I don't know. Saskatchewan.
No, it's Iowa.
I'd say Saskatchewan is the closest we have to Iowa. It's like, oh, hey, boys.
Does Saskatchewan get to vote first? Is that their thing?
Pardon?
Does Saskatchewan get to vote first in Canadian elections, too?
No. Well, we don't have
they got their whole own thing going on out there, don't they, Mike?
We don't have primaries, so that's like.
But don't they have the Saskatchewan Party?
They do.
Yeah,
The current governing party of the province of Saskatchewan is the Saskatchewan Party.
Right. Which is how it should be.
Who, unlike the Bloc Québécois, they're not separatists. They're just really fond of Saskatchewan.
And why wouldn't you be, right?
So, yeah, that's, I don't know, like, there are a lot of asterisks next to this whole Vegas thing.
There is one great comment on here that I think applies to any comment thread or forum that you go to. Mm-hmm. Why is there always got to be some negative trolling asshole? Yeah, well, that's just that's life on the internet, kids.
Yeah, welcome to internet comments.
Right.
We've got some news that we can talk about later. The NFL related that I just got an alert for on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll mention it by the end of the show.
Oh, yes.
So where do we want to go first? I mean, the parade, we all agree, would have been a very and they haven't said they're not going to do it, just that nothing's been confirmed yet. So we could still have this thing take place. But I think smarter heads will prevail, and they'll say no.
Yeah, from what it sounds like, it's one of those things where the city's like, "Oh, we should do this because we're Vegas," and the team's like, "No, please don't. Like, we do this enough ourselves. Like, this is us trying to actually act like a real live professional hockey team." Yeah, because your team not do this.
Your team is a first-year team, but your players are not new to the National Hockey League. They know how this works.
Do you think that Marc-Andre Fleury would want to be on a friggin' parade float
after losing the Stanley Cup Finals? Yeah.
Do you want to be on a parade float down the middle of the strip in 110-degree weather?
And he's just going to be standing there looking sad
in a gray jersey. No thanks.
So yeah.
Interestingly, before we leave Vegas extravagance, I want to read what I sent you guys. This is what my grandmother has to say about the Vegas pregame shows.
Oh, this is beautiful.
And this is my grandma, quote, Thank God whatever happens in Vegas stays there, including that abomination of their version of a pregame show. Hockey, especially a cup game, is not to be tainted with such BS. I hope they lose big time.
That's a Canadian grandmother, folks.
I love you, Nana.
I love you too, Nana. I have never met you, but you're wonderful, I can tell you. You got to love a grandmother that knows how this stuff works. You've just got to love it. I like what your dad said, too, which was basically, you know what happened at the Forum before Canadiens games? Not a fucking thing.
Yeah, my dad's response. They played the game.
Yeah. I'm trying to think at Jackets games, because, they could certainly be one of these cheesy expansion teams, but they just kind of play this, warm-up. It's a cool video of... It's about 2 minutes long of the players. You don't have a bunch of ice skaters dressed up as Union soldiers. No, I'm afraid not.
Advancing on.
The Blue Jackets probably do exactly what every other one of the 30 NHL teams do, where you have warm-ups, then the lights go down, you do some announcements, and then you have a pre-game video.
Yeah.
The PA announcer, welcome to tonight's game between the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Anaheim Ducks. And
maybe you have a bit of a light show, but...
they kick in Columbus, they kick the lights down, they play the video. It's, I don't know, maybe a minute and a half long. It's cool. It's well done. They get you fired up for the game, and the team comes onto the ice, lights come up, and that's it. And like Zach said, it's like tonight's game between, the Vancouver Canucks and your Columbus Blue Jackets, and that's the end of it. That's the extent of it right there.
Some sound effects, and you move on.
Yep.
Now, again, I think we might have brought this up at some point, but I know Mike knows about the inaugural game of the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim.
Was that where Wild Wing got burned up?
No. So the inaugural game,
the Disney pregame show.
There was a Disney on Ice thing before, and didn't that also introduce the Iceman?
It included a mascot named the Iceman, who did not appear again after he didn't even get it to the first intermission. That's how bad he was. He was emceeing it along with Lumiere, the talking candle from Beauty and the Beast, and Tinkerbell showed up. And, it was as Disney could be.
I've seen this. I think I've seen this on YouTube.
This is a shot of the Iceman from the...
the Iceman is... So, but this
he looks more like Give Me a Dollar Man from outside the arena, almost going to work.
Didn't they say he, lived in, the ice or something?
That was the backstory they gave him.
Also, he emerged from a space shuttle from Star Trek. It was this weird thing that drove onto the ice, and
it looks like they had an extra Star Tours vehicle that they brought over from Disneyland and just threw it on the ice.
I'm guessing the Ducks don't do this anymore.
No, they did. They did this whole song and dance one time, and they realized that I think it was just kind of the big opening night festivities, and then they also, so they knew they were going to dial it back always, but it was that and the fact that they realized that this made them look like an absolute Disney joke, which, they had to fight that reputation for many years as it was. So now you have Vegas, who essentially does this every single damn night.
Oh, when they cut the Winnipeg Jet in half, that was ridiculous. And the Daft Punk tribute band up in the stands, and come on.
I couldn't imagine being a season ticket holder to the Knights and knowing that every single game was going to start 15 minutes late because of this nonsense.
I mean, I just set my watch. I'd be like, there's no rush to get to the arena.
After this pregame show ended, for many years, the extent of what the Ducks pregame show was Wild Wing would come down from the rafters. They play dramatic, I forget what that song is. The da 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 da. I don't know. It's Basso Fortuna or something like that.
Oh, Fortuna, yeah.
Yeah. And he would come down from the rafters very slowly. They'd lower him down, on a thing to look like he's flying. Then he'd hit the ice, grab a flag, skate, do a lap, wave the flag, and then go away. And then they'd play the video, and then the team would come out. And that was the extent of it. And as a kid, I love that shit. But I imagine even some adults are like, oh yeah, Wild Wing. Okay, let's get on with it. But to have like this, I couldn't imagine if the Ducks did that full Disney on Ice routine before every single game.
Hey,
it drive regular normal people nuts.
Look, I'm sure Iceman would love it. He probably doesn't have anything going on right now.
I'm sure Iceman needs work.
He looks like it in the picture. I think one time your inaugural game, sure, why not? Have fun with it, go for it. Maybe the Jackets did a bunch of crazy stuff before their first game. I don't know. I wasn't there for it, but one time, sure, okay. But the nonsense they've been doing, and this is the Stanley Cup final for Pete's sake. This isn't some February game where you're trying to get a crowd in the building. Come on, show a little class. Not even class. Act like I guess they can't act like they've been there because they never have. But
just act professional.
Act professional,
is what it is. Like, I know that you're going to be Vegas and you got to Vegas it up somehow. But, like, this isn't even Vegas. This is, like, we've gone over this all before. It's medieval times nonsense.
It's college football on acid is what it is.
It's medieval times nonsense. And look, if you want to Vegas it up, the only thing you got to do to Vegas it up is put some slot machines on the club level. That's how you Vegas it up.
Exactly. Maybe a roulette wheel. Why not?
Yeah. But to the games itself,
I think I said I was done making predictions.
Hey.
But I'm telling you, the games I've watched so far, I think the Caps are just the better team. I really do.
Especially the last two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the Caps defense wasn't good in game one, and that's what led to all the scoring chances. But on the whole, Braden Holtby's been better than Marc-Andre Fleury.
Right.
The Caps offense has been just as dynamic as Vegas's has been through the entire playoffs. And Vegas is finally kind of, they've scored goals, but I think they've been shut down for the most part. They don't look nearly as dangerous as they did in any of the previous rounds.
Well, this is really the first series they've had to kind of take
This is the first time they've been down.
Yeah, and take a punch in the mouth and get back up. And that's going to be interesting to see how they respond to that.
Well, this is the first time that Vegas in the playoffs has actually lost two in a row.
Yeah.
Which is
interesting.
The first
time they've lost two. No, yeah.
Yeah, first time they've lost two, but this is the first time they've lost after they've lost.
They lost
they
two.
Beat the Sharks in six.
Beat the Sharks in six.
Beat the Sharks in six.
Right. Okay.
They had not lost two games in a row until these two.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
This playoffs has been a continue. We say that Vegas they haven't experienced the pain of they haven't experienced playoff pain, but in that San Jose series they had to deal with the fact that they lost a game. And then in Winnipeg, they temporarily had to deal with the fact they were down by one game in a series. And now they've lost two in a row. How are they going to deal with it?
I think they're going to deal with it by watching Washington win maybe the next two, possibly two out of the next three, and take the cup away from them is how they're going to probably deal with it.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, in fairness to give Vegas full chance like everybody else has had, we've seen this happen a lot in these playoffs where a team looks like they've got it in complete control, and the next thing you know, you're going, what happened to the Tampa Bay Lightning? Or what happened to the Pittsburgh Penguins? I mean, it's been that kind of playoffs where a team looks dominant, and then all of a sudden they're not anymore.
But I think even in the game that the Capitals lost, that was a game that they could have easily won.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do, because they scored 4 goals in that game.
Yeah. And, they lost 6-4, but I think one of them was empty netter.
Yep.
And the calls that went against them in that game, like the tying goal came off a cross check in the crease that the referees just decided not to look at. Decided it didn't happen, I guess.
Well, they just got one. I just saw in one of the games there where Holtby made a dumbass pass that.
Right. Just in that last game.
Yeah. But it's been hard to predict because we've seen this a lot where a team will get on a roll, win a couple of games, you go, okay, they're in charge now, and then they're not. But I think that I was reading an article, I think it might have been on ESPN, where they were saying that the Knights just look tired. And maybe they are because, how many of their guys have been on this long of a playoff run in their lives?
Fleury. That's it.
That's something that you don't take into consideration a lot is that you start playing more games than you're used to. And it can start to slow you down a little bit. I mean, I don't know. The Caps look like they've got it under control right now, but then again, you never know. Vegas could win tonight. We're back to 2-2, and then who knows what happens. But if I had to place a bet, I'd put it on the Caps right now. I think they're going to finally punch that ticket.
No, I think this is the Caps' time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
They win tonight, it's over, I think, if they win tonight.
Well, yeah, there was some stat, I think it's like 80% of teams in the Cup final that go up 3-1 end up winning.
Yeah.
No, I think this goes 6. I think this goes with the Capitals will win tonight, I think. Then Vegas will, win at home again, and then the Caps will finish it off.
So now we're not the Stanley Cup final does not do. I know I ask this every year. They do not do the 2-3-2 thing in the final, right? No. Good. Thank God.
2-1-1.
Good. Yeah. Because I think the NBA does a 2-3-2 now, which I suppose favors the Cavs in some respects right now, but
no, the NBA got rid of the 2-3-2.
Oh, did they?
Yes, it is now 2-1-1-1.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's how it went when
they obviously used to do that. They did that because they were tired of flying back and forth from LA to Boston, so they only wanted to do it one time in a series.
5 hours on a chartered jet. Get over it, guys.
Well, this was the 80s. It was a different time.
Okay, it was 6 hours on a chartered jet.
It wasn't necessarily chartered back then.
Yeah,
and it wasn't the players; it was the media that didn't want to do it.
Well, they can really just shut up. I mean, you get to go watch the NBA finals, and you're flown out and back for free. I'd have no complaints.
It's a lot of logistics for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true.
Be hopped back. It's not just the 10 players on the court at any given time.
But yeah, I think the Caps have taken command of the series right now. Now that could change tonight, but God, I've said this so many times throughout the playoffs. They just look like the better team right now, and I think they're more talented. Clearly, right? I mean, they've got Ovechkin, and I mean, come on, they're just better.
They have more top end talent. Definitely.
Yeah.
Between Holtby and Ovechkin and Backstrom and Kuznetsov, and even on defense, guys like John Carlson, they've got more top end talent.
I mean, Zach has mentioned that the Golden Knights don't look as dangerous as they have in previous rounds, and I think it's worth noting that at the tail end of that Eastern Conference Finals series, the Capitals held the highest scoring offense in the NHL and the Tampa Bay Lightning to 0 goals in 8 periods of hockey.
Yeah.
And so if, say what you want about how dominant Vegas has been this year, like the Lightning were the most proficient offense in the NHL this season. And if the Capitals are able to get that under control, then getting the Vegas Golden Knights of Clark County under control should, it shouldn't be as hard.
Well, my question goes back to, and this is going all the way back to the first round, why didn't Braden Holtby start those first 2 games for the Caps against Columbus? Because that really, I thought, was the reason why the Jackets even got up 2-0 in that 2-0 in that series.
Because towards the end of the regular season, Holtby was struggling, and their backup goalie, when they put him in, he was hot, and they rode him to a couple wins at the end of the year. So they said, we're going to go with the hot hand.
Yeah, that's one thing to do that, say, for a couple weeks in February or whatever. I don't know that I do that in the playoffs.
But it wasn't. It was like the last month or so that Holtby had not looked good. So they said, okay, we got to go with the guy that's leading us right now, and that was fine.
I suppose. But yeah, it's it's going to get interesting from here. If Vegas wins tonight, who knows, man? But I don't know. I just think the Caps, when the Caps took a game, when they played well in game 1, and then when they kind of dominated in game 2 in Vegas, I thought, okay, they're getting their feet under them, and then they won in game 3, and you're going, all right, now they're in gear, and this could be it. So we'll see. But I don't want to make any predictions because I've been wrong every time so far. Every single time.
Yeah, but
so I'm sorry, Caps fans. I didn't mean it. I don't want to get blamed for it, but
don't worry about it. I think like you said, the Capitals have been better, and Ovechkin looks like as motivated as I've ever seen Alex Ovechkin. That goal he scored in Game 3, where he's diving over guys to reach for the cup, that tells me something about Ovi. And besides just that pure effort, he's still leading the team in goals and stuff like that. If the Capitals win, he's going to be the Conn Smythe winner, and I think everyone can finally shut up about Ovechkin. You can probably say that now. And well, if they blow the series, I guess it'll always be with him. But assuming things go as they've been going, he's going to shed that choker label pretty easy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Which is awesome for him because he's always been one of my favorite players since he came in the league, just the way he plays and the style and the energy and all that sort of stuff.
Well, we've talked before about teams like the Capitals or the Blues or teams that have just had, or the Sharks for that matter, where, and Zach, you've brought it up, it has to happen sooner or later. And this is starting to feel like it's going to finally happen for the Capitals. Now, again, I don't want to jinx them. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm just saying that it's starting to feel like this might be the time where they finally do it. And that'll stop all the talk about Ovechkin, and it will just get rid of it. It cures all. Stanley Cup win takes care of everything else.
And something I hadn't thought about until our friend, is he our friend? Buck fan, 56 on the boards brought up.
He listens to the show now, so yes, he's our friend.
Listener, friend of the pod.
Yes, friend of the pod, a fod. A fop. No, he's a fop. As you will see, Buck fan, while you're listening, as you will see, math and that, spelling are strong suits for sure.
Yeah. The Golden Knights could very well, despite how much we hate them right now, they very well could end up being something like the Florida Panthers. Mm-hmm. Now, because remember, the Florida Panthers in their third year went to the Stanley Cup final. Yes. And that group wasn't exactly a talented roster either. They rode hot play from John Van Beesbrook.
Yeah.
And they burned their way through the Eastern Conference Finals, or, through the Eastern Conference playoffs, only to get swept by the Avalanche, who won a cup in their first year in Colorado, which, analogous to Vegas in only that it's the first year, but not analogous to Vegas in any other way. Anyway, the point is the Panthers make the playoffs or the Stanley Cup final in that third year with this magical run that we've never seen before from a team that young in this modern era of expansion drafts and not being allowed to just make the Cup final in your first year like St. Louis did for its first three. Then what happened?
Yeah.
What has happened to the Panthers since then?
Panthers happened. I think you know that, Zach.
And I want to go back to something else. Go ahead.
And just so the point is that as much as we hate the Golden Knights right now, my best case scenario for them is that they end up being the Panthers. That this is some magical run that they will never be able to replicate because then they start tinkering with it and screwing with it, and that will be the true test of their fans if they can still have fans after a few years of absolute suckitude that they might run into.
And then in maybe 15 years they make the playoffs again and they look promising only for ownership to blow it up because they go all in on analytics.
Yeah.
Well, there are two things I want to – there's and one that's kind of unrelated, so I'll get to that in a second. But this is what I was talking about last week with their fans. Even if they lose this is the expectation level we have set for Las Vegas hockey. Stanley Cup final or bust, basically. Mm-hmm. So if you come out next year, and let's say they come out and they finish fourth in the West, and they make the playoffs, and they go out in the first round to, say, the Minnesota Wild.
Oh, that would be really bad.
What do the fans do? I mean, do the fans stick around? Do they go, okay, this is how it works in this league? Or do they go, this isn't as much fun as last year? And
what happens if they don't
20%.
make the playoffs?
Well, what if they don't make the playoffs? Right. That's my point. This is great. And like I said, if you wanted to find a way to build a fan base, there is no better way to do it than the way they are doing it right now. But you're building it on a very shitty foundation. There's nothing holding it up. And I think that you can watch the whole thing start to fall apart because if they come out next year and they don't make the playoffs, 40% of the fans are gone. Simple as that. They'll be back when they win again, but for the time being, they are out the door. You can kiss your sellout crowds goodbye. You can kiss all that stuff goodbye. You've gone from, let's say, I'm going to use 20,000 as a round number down to 14, just like that. Maybe 12 a game. That's why this is a bad business model. It's great to build a fan base, but you've got to maintain this now. And you've got to maintain it at this level to keep this fan base. And I don't know if you can do that.
I think I was listening to another podcast where they were talking about, when the Raiders come in with all that sort of stuff. And I think the point that they brought up, and I kind of agree with, is that with the way this team, with the way that the Golden Knights are, they're Vegas's first professional sports team. They're not from somewhere else like the Raiders are going to be. They had this magical run. They came in right after the shooting, and they made that bond with the community and the firefighters and all that sort of stuff. That no matter what happens,
forget about that part. That helped a lot too.
There will be a bond. There will always be a bond between the team and the city for sure. But they're not, when the Raiders come in, they will no longer be the most popular team in Vegas. You're not going to have a situation where the Golden Knights are more popular than the Raiders, but I think there will be more love for the Golden Knights, if that makes any sense. I know none of that
exactly
is
what you mean.
quantifiable.
I know exactly what you mean.
Where it's like,
they will have a smaller fan base, but it's going to be much more devoted.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the way with most hockey teams, but I think that's the way you'll have it in Vegas, because their whole hashtag has always been Vegas born. And I think, to the same people that were on this podcast, that was a very calculated shot at what the Raiders are going to be.
Sure.
Where they're going to be this team from Oakland and Los Angeles, this team that's from somewhere else, where the Golden Knights will always be the first Vegas team through and through.
Well, not only that, but how comfortable do you get with the Las Vegas Raiders? Because this is a team that will have moved 3 times now.
Oh, sure. Right.
So really?
With all the money they're throwing at this new stadium, I think you could say
pretty damn comfortable.
They're probably going to stick around.
Yeah, probably, but I'm just saying they're the Raiders.
And Mark Davis is like, okay, if it was still Al Davis and he got the state of Nevada and a bunch of investors to blow all that money on that stadium, I could see Al Davis after like 10 years being like, fuck it, going back to the Oakland Coliseum just because.
Whereas Mark Davis feels like he likes that free buffet a little bit more than Al Davis would have.
Look, once Mark gets into Vegas, he gets, his spot he gets his designated booth at the local P.F. Chang's. I think he'll be comfortable there.
Gets his designated table at the P.F. Chang's. He gets the junior suite at the Wynn or whatever.
He'll be
finds
he'll be fine. I'm sure Mark Davis will be perfectly fine in Vegas in the long haul.
Yeah, once he finds a Big Lots where he can buy VHS tapes for the tape deck in the van.
Yeah, and
he still does that, by the way.
He can also buy a plastic bowl at that Big Lots, so his hair will.
Right.
I still love that, by the way, that he has a VHS player in his minivan.
Oh, what's that other place that sells all this old discontinued? Ollie's is another one of those places. I don't know if you guys have Ollie's where you are, but
there's an Ollie's in Tampa. Yes.
Yeah, Ollie's is that you can go get VHS tapes.
He'll get a Radio Shack to stay open in Las Vegas only.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, there is a Radio Shack open in Tampa. It is
pretty sure all of ours have closed.
Yeah, all of ours have.
It is the weirdest thing. There's one strip mall that has an open Radio Shack, and I've never been in it, but I kind of want to go in there and ask them, what's going on, guys?
You guys have a CV radio I can use?
I imagine it's sort of like those Japanese soldiers on those remote Pacific islands who never heard that the war was over. Have you guys just not heard that?
Well, it's like the last living blockbusters in Alaska.
Yeah. And I guess it thrives. Does pretty well, actually.
Well, yeah. Now they have a bunch of Russell Crowe movie merchandise thanks to John Oliver.
Oh yeah, what, the jock strap that he wore?
The jock strap from Cinderella Man.
Oh, from Cinderella Man, right?
Yeah.
I loved that segment where they're interviewing one of the employees there, and it's like people come from all over, and they walk in and they're astounded that they are in a blockbuster. The very act is amazing to them.
Yeah, just what year is this? But yeah,
it was pretty remarkable. I mean, I don't want to go down too far down this rabbit hole, but it was pretty remarkable how quickly places like Blockbuster became completely obsolete. It happened fast. Where you just went, one day it was a thing, and the next day it seemed absurd. And
you want to know what's insane? Blockbuster turned down an offer to buy Netflix in its infancy.
Yeah. Talk about a mistake, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to go back to, and this is not really related to the conversation, but we talked, I forget, I think it was during the, we were talking about Vegas and the draft, the expansion draft, and how, you always got a goalie, like with Fleury, they had Matt Murray, so they let him go. And I was thinking that with John Van Beesbrook, if Mike Richter doesn't happen, I don't know that the 96 Panthers ever happen because they don't let Van Beesbrook go. And you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because Richter's the reason why they put Van Beesbrook out there to be, I think he got drafted. Maybe he was traded, or signed there, I don't remember.
I believe he was drafted.
Yeah. So but that's why. It was because of Mike Richter. So, yeah.
Well, and if it wasn't for Mike Richter and his Statue of Liberty mask, maybe John Van Beesbrook doesn't make his cat mask.
Yeah.
No, look at that.
And I still contend that Richter's Statue of Liberty mask is still the best mask of all time. Sorry.
It's up there.
It's one of it's the best.
I think my favorite is pretty old school with Gary Cheevers.
Oh,
and
yeah. Well, he had that when he played for the Crusaders, he had that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, one of the cool things about the transition from no mask to mask, and you look at his face and you're just like, you realize how effed up his face could have been if it wasn't for
it just blows my mind that they played hockey without masks. And this is, to me, the beauty of hockey.
Oh
players.
my God!
What?
Did Fleury fucking make another save?
I don't know, but Holtby just stood up.
Or Holtby, I mean.
Yeah.
It just stood
Did
hell of a
Holtby make
barrage.
another one of the saves like he did in Game 2? Or Game 3, was that? Game 2.
What was I going to say? Oh, with playing without the masks. Not only did they not wear masks, but if you wore one, you were considered a wimp. This is hockey, folks. I mean, a goalie wearing a mask, you big pansy. What a sport. Yeah, I almost didn't come back down to do the second half of the show because I forgot what day it is or what time it is or any other kind of analogy you want to use for J.R. Smith sticking his head completely up his ass in Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
What's your own name? Do you know? Do you know what your name is?
No, I do not.
We all agreed. Everyone heard on our podcast that for the most part we had all agreed that we weren't going to watch any of the dumb games. And I can say that I still didn't watch. I watched 0 seconds of Game 2, so that's good.
I didn't watch any of Game 2.
I watched about a minute and a half of it. I turned it on, and the Cavs were down 12, and I knew after what happened in Game 1, they weren't going to come back from 12 points down.
I did watch Game 1, and I have to say I was thoroughly entertained through most of Game 1. And then the ending happened. Well, the end of regulation happened, and by the time the show comes out, I think everyone will know.
Yeah, I was in the room for the first half of Game 1. I wouldn't say I was paying attention, but it was on the TV while I was on my phone. And then I took a nap, came back out, and as I was leaving, there was 4.7 seconds left. And there's George Hill on the free throw line with the opportunity to put the Cavs ahead and win this game. And I was like, well, how about that shit? All right, let's see what happens here. Makes the first one. Okay, good. Just sink the second one. Doesn't make the second one. J.R. Smith the rebound. And he starts going the other direction.
I am surprised that both of you didn't hear me.
The look on LeBron was so...
Oh, that was classic.
LeBron, he's like poised, like, no!
And then did you see LeBron? Smith walks up to him, and you can see him mouth, I thought we were ahead, and LeBron just gives him the most evil look, turns his back on him, and walks away.
I think someone put it best, the difference between, because people have obviously been comparing Jordan and LeBron, and that always happens, but the best difference, I think, was summed up. If that were Jordan just would have decked him.
He probably would have slit his throat. Are you kidding me? Mike would have busted a cap off in his ass right there on the court, man. I'm surprised you guys didn't hear me yelling, "What the fuck are you doing?" I couldn't believe it. No, look, no one's to say for certain that the Cavs hit the shot and win the game with 4.7 seconds left, but you got to like your chances, right?
You look at that. I'm not even a basketball fan. Even I know you get it there. You try to put it in. You're either going to make it or you're going to draw a penalty and you're going to get 2 shots at the line. Well,
not only that, it's not exactly that common to get an offensive rebound off a free throw. So every break in the world is going in the direction of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then he does that. And I think, what is he doing? Because my first thought is, okay, you've got the ball. Find LeBron, give it to him. Let's win this thing. And nope. And like I said, I texted this to you guys. I posted it everywhere that I could think of. It is time to add the head up your ass to the drive, the fumble, the shot, and all the other nonsensical Cleveland terms, because that's exactly what happened.
JR forgets what the score is.
The head up your ass, yeah.
And, of course, the best part was after the game, him maintaining that, no, I knew what it was. We all saw your lips.
You said, I thought we were ahead.
And because you see the angle with him saying what he says, where you see, I thought we were ahead, and then you get the other angle of LeBron like, what are you doing? And then you can the instant he's like, I thought we were ahead. You just like you mentioned, Greg, you see LeBron's face just fall,
yeah,
and just like be so damn angry and just walk the other direction.
And I want to know,
literally, he got that rebound 2 feet in front of the basket.
He could have gone right back up with it, actually.
No, absolutely. He should have gone up with it.
He just had to let go, and the momentum would carry the ball into the net probably.
All he had to do was go up. He would have either made it or he would have drawn a penalty and gotten 2 shots, and he only would have needed 1 to win at that point.
There were a myriad of different things that could have happened there that would have been the correct call, and J.R. Smith didn't make any of them.
Right. Whether he dribbles out and passes it to somebody, whether he passes it directly to LeBron, anything would have been better than just doing nothing with it, because that was the Cavs' chance. They weren't going to beat them in overtime. LeBron was doing everything he could.
LeBron had 50 points that game?
51 points. The rest of his team was garbage. I gotta.
That was the series for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Stat,
look. No, Greg's exactly right. That was the series for the Cleveland Cavaliers, because the only chance in hell that the Cavs have to win this series is if they win all the games when LeBron goes full LeBron.
Right.
And LeBron went full LeBron.
Oh, did he?
And they blew it.
Yeah.
And so, those were the games that the Cavs would have had to win to even have a shot. And they just blew it. It's over. It's done.
Yeah.
And you knew they weren't going to win in overtime because they were so deflated after that idiotic play by him. And look, I understand if it's the second quarter with 8 minutes to go, you don't know what the score is. Okay, fine. That's perfectly legitimate. How, as an NBA player with experience in the NBA Finals of all places with 4 seconds left, you don't know what the score is? How does that happen?
Look up at the fucking scoreboard.
It's not like the score is not posted everywhere. At a million different places in that damn arena.
Right. Okay. You're because he was in the key for the free throws, right? So he has to know that, okay, we're down by 1 and he has 2 free throws. He just made 1, so we're tied.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. It's not even are you keeping track of every single basket that's been scored? No.
He doesn't need to know it's 107. He just needs to know that the score is tied.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to know the exact number. He just has to know that we're not ahead, we're behind, whatever. And it just blew my mind. You're an NBA player in the NBA Finals, and you don't know what the score is with 4.7 seconds left in a game.
Just asinine.
And like I said, that cost them the series. Because like Mike just pointed out, when LeBron has a game like that, you've got to win that game. And you knew there was no chance in overtime. They were completely deflated.
No. I don't care. I don't care what the analytics people say. I'm a full believer in momentum.
Oh yeah.
And as soon as J.R. Smith did what he did, any momentum the Cavs had was gone. And knew that as soon as he did what he did, the Warriors were going, all right, we almost blew that. It's time to get down to business, and they won easily.
Yeah, because the worst thing that could have happened after LeBron went full LeBron is that the Warriors went full Warriors in overtime.
And they did.
There you go.
Honestly, I don't see how this isn't a sweep.
No, not at this point.
Maybe the Cavs get one back in Cleveland because at a certain point, maybe Golden State's just like, okay, well, we'll take our foot off the gas. We're going to win this, whatever. That's the only way it happens. It's not going longer than 5.
No, that game, but I really believe had the Cavs won that game, they had a fair shot at winning this thing. It changed. So many things changed in that 3 seconds of basketball, where the Cavs went from we might actually have a shot at winning this to we're going to be lucky if we get out of it with a win. It all changed. It all swung on that one little thing. And the analytics people can say what they want, but Mike's exactly right. All the momentum, all the everything went right out the door of the Cavs locker room and straight over off the Cavs bench and straight over to the Warriors bench on that play.
And again, just to emphasize how much this is LeBron on an island trying to will this group of garbage to a title.
A bunch of guys, guys that don't even know what the freaking score of the game is. That's what he's playing with, folks. This is from ESPN Stats and Info on Twitter. The Cavaliers are 8 for 32 from 3-point range off LeBron James passes, including 5 of 16 when the attempt is uncontested. Kevin Love is 1 for 9 on 3-pointers off of LeBron James passes. Well, the one he hit was a huge one.
But here's the thing, so LeBron's doing everything he can, and it's not just like he's just trying to score himself every single time. He's trying to get everyone involved. He knows
if he doesn't play the way he's been playing in these playoffs, they aren't going to win anything. He knows that.
Yeah.
This isn't a guy out there just showing off or just trying to. I mean, it's certainly, you could certainly make the argument that it looks like it's a me thing, but it's not. This is a guy that is a very smart basketball player that knows the only way we're going to do this is if I do what I do. Otherwise, we stand no chance. We can't
if anybody on that team was even slightly better than they have been, then they have a chance at winning. Just by looking at those stats.
Well, I joked.
Yeah, it's all LeBron.
Yeah.
Well, I joked at the end of regulation at Game 1. I was like, "Who's J.R. Smith? Is he one of the guys from the local Cleveland Y who LeBron James is dragging to the NBA Finals?"
Pretty much. His claim to fame was he was the guy that took his shirt off when they won it in 2016.
Yeah. And then Obama commented about it or something. He was like, "Where's the shirt?"
But if you needed a better example of what we were talking about on the show last week about LeBron and this bunch of, I think Zach called them jabronis that he's playing with, that Game 1 there's no better example of that. Because if LeBron, if we try to have basketball camp and participation camp and all that, Cavs aren't winning this game. There's no way. None of these guys can do a third of what LeBron can do. So you want to again tell me how it's unimpressive that he's gone to the finals 8 straight times? I don't even want to entertain that argument because this guy is doing things that I'm not sure Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan could do this statistically, but I don't think that MJ quite had the. I don't want to say respect because that's the wrong word. But he can rub people the wrong way. I don't think LeBron does that as much, and these guys seem to want to play for him a little bit more than maybe they did with MJ, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And
well, MJ, I can see where Michael Jordan definitely has a screw you, I'm going to do this myself.
Yeah, like I said, J.R. Smith does that.
Whereas LeBron is just like,
J.R. Smith does that on the Bulls. J.R. Smith does this on the Bulls, and Michael Jordan murders him.
Yeah, Michael Jordan can take that basketball and shove it straight up his ass is what he's going to do. It just killed the Cavaliers. And I think even LeBron at that point had to say, what else can I do? I did all of this and still had some idiot blow it for us.
I mean,
what does he do at this point?
100%.
After Game 1, I told myself, I'm not going to watch Game 2. Whether or not I watch Game 3 will depend entirely on what happens in Game 2. And guess what happened in Game 2?
Oh, they got blown out.
No, I'm not watching another second of that series.
No.
There's nothing's going to change. What happened in Game 2 is exactly how you think it's going to go. Okay, the Cavaliers are deflated now, and the Warriors are just going to do what they do and systematically beat them. Okay.
Yeah, and I think
he had a couple 3-pointers, but he always does.
What gets lost?
Honestly, even in Game 1, when Steph Curry hit that 3 at the end of the first half, when I was kind of paying attention, the Cavaliers were up by 10 or 11 at one point in the second quarter, And it's like, okay, this is a shot. If they're up by 10 at halftime, sure, the Warriors are going to have a big third quarter as they always do. But hey, they got themselves in a good spot, and then they blew it, and then they were tied going to halftime, and it's just like, all right. So I thought the game was lost there. I thought the Warriors would pull away, and then all credit to LeBron for keeping them in it in that second half. But
I'll just say, pay attention to the hockey game for a second, guys.
Okay.
Wilson.
I think was it Ovi got that one?
No, it was Wilson.
Oh God, Tom Wilson.
Wilson.
What a garbage can he is.
Oh,
there it is. Yep. Okay. I just saw Ovi celebrating. I thought maybe it was him. Let's see what happened here.
Nice shot too, honestly.
Not bad. Oh, I don't know. That's a little soft, I think. Come on, Fleury. Was he blocked?
Give me a couple seconds here, guys.
I'm going to give that. That was a slightly soft goal, I'm going to say. Not entirely, but slightly.
Why am I this far behind?
Hey, look. All I'm going to say is that
no, that's actually a pretty decent shot.
Okay.
I'm going to say this with Marc-Andre Fleury. He acquired the label of a playoff choker for a reason. And yes, he's been lights out so far, but you live by the Fleury, you die by the Fleury.
I thought it was a little soft because it seemed like he had a good look at it, and it wasn't that hard of a shot.
It's weird. It was a good shot, but Marc-Andre Fleury did not seem like he knew where it was.
Okay.
Fleury seemed to be scrambling, which I don't necessarily blame him because Vegas's defense, going off what Zach has said about how Vegas's defense is their weak point, Vegas's defense just let Tom fucking Wilson, of all people, get them out of position. But
yeah, I think
here come the Caps again.
Honestly, I think this is now that they've had to go up against a team that can match them punch for punch. This is when the Vegas defense is going to show has shown its bare threats.
Again, when Tom Wilson, gets you out of position, that's not a good look.
Well, and Vegas is.
I got suspended for 3 games for breaking a guy's jaw, Wilson.
So you're saying he's not a guy that scores a lot of goals?
He's not exactly your stereotypical goon, but he's not one of the Caps' elite talents either.
He's an irritator that has also he's been suspended plenty of times. He's Rafi Torres with a little more skill
and a bit less psychopath. A bit less.
Sure, a bit. I guess you can't go full Rafi Torres anymore.
No.
No, he's the guy in game 1, Greg. He's the guy who hit Marchessault 8 feet away from the puck for no reason.
My kind of player.
He would have fit in great in the old IHL.
Well, definitely my kind of player then. I swear, though, there was hockey that took place at times at those games I went to. Not a lot, but it took place.
You know what? I have fond memories of the IHL. I
do too. I miss the Long Beach Ice Dogs.
I wish it was still with us, but alas.
Man, the IHL that I'm talking about was basically a Midwest league. I think the team that was furthest west was maybe Peoria.
I just thought it was really cool in '97 when the Detroit Vipers won the Turner Cup.
Yeah.
The same year that the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because the IHL was the one that tried to go to the bigger market. No, was that the AHL? They tried to do the bigger market thing around.
No, it was the IHL.
Yeah.
There were even rumors of the IHL.
Pay attention, guys.
Really again?
Yeah, I think the clock has struck midnight on Mr. Fleury here.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's over.
Let's see.
Yeah. And Marc-Andre Fleury, they just had a shot at him. He did not look like he's in the best state of mind.
Well, maybe based on Vegas' season, they should call up
that was kind of pretty there. Was that Smith? What's his name? Smith?
Devontae Smith-Pelly?
Yeah.
Scored again, my boy DSP, former Anaheim.
Nice. Just a nice little flip shot right over Fleury's shoulder. It was pretty.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
and look who's on the ice for that goal. Vegas's top line. How about that?
The Caps ain't playing around tonight.
No.
Tom Wilson and Smith Pelly score. It's like this isn't even like.
It looked like Fleury was headed for the bench right after that. I don't know if that's because it's a stoppage in play or if he was running for his life. I can't tell.
Speaking of that, I'd pull Fleury at this point. You're in the first period.
Yeah, and he's giving up 2 quick ones.
First period, down 3-0. Like I understand. Okay, there's 20 seconds left, but I'm throwing Subban out there in that start of the second.
I'm going to give him the rest of the period, but I think that if he gives up one more, you got to get him out. Well, he's not going to give it up now. There's only 3 seconds left, but I don't know. They're in though. Well, the Caps did that was a good first period for the Washington Capitals for sure. Anyway, what were we talking about? Basketball, right?
J.R. Smith is an idiot, and the Warriors are probably going to sweep the Cavs.
Yeah, I don't see what I will do the rest of the way now, like I did with Game 2. I tuned in. If the Cavs had been winning, I would have stuck around. But when I saw they were down 12, I said, that's it. I'm not going to even bother because I know how this is going to end. And I'll do the same thing on, I don't know, next Thursday when they play Game 3. When is it actually? It's Wednesday? So day after tomorrow. I'll tune in, see what's going on, and if wait a minute, are we going to get hockey and basketball on the same night now?
No, they never do that.
Okay.
Game 5 is Thursday.
Okay.
Game 5 in the Cup final is Thursday, and if we get to Game 6, it'll be on Sunday.
Yeah.
Would I love to just drink the tears of Vegas on Sunday night? Because again, I'll be in Vegas this weekend, and we won't be able to record on Monday because I'll be in Vegas on Monday. So,
well, then we'll record when you get back.
We could have you live on location, taking in the Zach's here with a Golden Knights fan.
How'd that shit taste?
You get Zach in trouble.
Zach's just berating this guy.
He'll be a little lubed up with a few drinks and say something stupid and.
Fuck your pregame show.
Yeah. Act like a real NHL team, you fucking assholes. And what's with those stupid drums?
God.
Well, yeah, I think the Cavs are finished. Just because our hockey predictions have been so bad so far this postseason, I'm not going to say that the Knights are finished, but I think they are.
Again, I will say that I am the only one that predicted the Washington Capitals to be in the Stanley Cup Finals.
You did.
I had them losing to Winnipeg, but still, I had them in the Cup final.
That Winnipeg series is just disappointing because they were like the Raptors against the Cavs, kind of almost in that. They played great in the first game, but then where'd they go for those next 4? I don't understand what happened to them. Because I was watching them in the run before. That's a good team. I don't know what happened. Anyway, we can sit here and keep talking about how the Cavs are going to lose. We can move on to other stuff. It's up to you guys.
All I'll say on that is that LeBron James is good at basketball.
There is a point there was a point that I was going to get to before Washington started scoring goals left and right. For the Cavaliers to win, LeBron has to do LeBron things, and everything has to go pretty much perfectly. And a mistake like J.R. Smith costs you a game. You have no margin for error with this Cavs team. And that's why it was such a big deal, because they can't screw up like that. LeBron can do his part, but everything else has to go right as well. And when it doesn't, no matter what he does, it's not going to make as much of a difference. So that's what they're up against. He has to be great, and they have to be pretty much perfect to have a shot at winning this thing.
The Steelers unveiled throwback uniforms.
Oh, and they're gorgeous. Oh, my God.
And, well...
I know. I know.
It's the funniest thing. So when people are looking at the Steelers and trying to guess what their throwback is going to be, they have it could be these Batman ones, or it could be the ones that with the yellow shoulders, or the ones that they wore for the 75th anniversary.
With all the stripes, right? Like the rugby shirt ones, yeah.
Right. Because no one ever thinks that, they're not going to actually go back to the 70s ones, because it's literally just the same uniforms they're wearing right now.
But
just a different number font.
Correction. made to those uniforms. Tell me they don't look a ton better with that block font than they do with that italicized font.
Greg, you don't want me to answer that question.
Are you serious?
I like the italicized font.
Oh, dude.
Greg, you got to realize, Mike and I have grown up knowing the Steelers in the italicized numbers.
I know,
to me, just like you're right. That's what the Steelers look like. I don't know anything. I don't know otherwise.
Yeah, I know, but
to me, this looks like it's Iowa.
Oh no, man! This is the perfect Steelers uniform. They're beautiful. It's like I've been complaining since the very first time I did my best and worst of the week on the boards that the Steelers have got to go back to the block font because it just looks so much better. The italicized font, it lost some of the toughness of a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, is the way I always looked at it. That it didn't seem as tough with those italicized numbers. It's not a bad look. It's fine. But the block fonts, oh, God, come on.
They don't look bad by any stretch. It's just I know the Steelers as with the italicized numbers.
Dude, you got to understand. Old dudes like me are just like salivating over those things. Like, that's what the Steelers are supposed to look like.
I understand, and I guess I get it to a degree because, like, I look at those Dolphins throwbacks, and I'm like, yes, that's what they should be wearing.
Exactly.
But at the same time, though, like, that's because the Dolphins' current uniforms leave a lot to be desired. To me, though,
there's nothing wrong with the Steelers ones.
Yeah, the Steelers, they still have like all of the classic design elements, and to me at least, and to Zach too, like those italicized numbers look perfectly fine. Like there's nothing egregious about them.
No, I agree. I still think that even with the italicized numbers, they're still like at least a top 10 look in the league, if not top 5. But to me, the block numbers just always looked better to me because that's what I grew up with. That's how I knew them, were the Steelers with the block numbers. And man, I saw that. I know that the geeks in our crowd are like, they changed the font, big deal. But to people like me, it's like, oh my God, they've done something wonderful here. It's glorious.
I think to me, my only real issue with it is that this is not enough to make an alternate jersey out of.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure it is.
No, because
to me it's like when the Blackhawks unveil.
People won't know.
You guys, you don't understand.
I know. No, Greg, you are. I know that.
But listen to me. Hear me out.
The general public are going to be like,
Greg,
we're not talking about the general public, though. I'm talking about Steelers fans, okay?
Greg,
and I promise you that there are a ton of Steelers fans that will buy that jersey specifically because it looks like the 70s jersey. They're going to go crazy over that thing. I guarantee it. Pittsburgh is a smart organization. They know what they're doing. And this thing's going to sell just fine. Don't even worry about it.
Greg,
and not just the people like me. Yes.
Greg, do I have to remind you of the story about someone confusing my Blue Jays cap with a Patriots hat? Like...
I know, but I'm talking about Steelers Nation. I'm not talking about the general public, and there's a big difference. And I do believe that a lot of Steelers fans will buy that jersey because it's the 70s Steelers jersey, and you can't get those now.
To me, this just seems like when the like when the Blackhawks unveil an alternate that's just their white uniform, only they don't have number outlines, and the alternate logo is on the sleeve stripes, and it's like, I guess, but what's the point?
You guys
my thing is too, like, again, it's an alternate jersey. It's not different enough. If you want to do this, just change the regular jersey. Like,
that's what I said.
Right. That's fine, but this, as an alternate uniform, they're still going to be wearing the same jersey, just there's a slight difference to it.
I understand, but you guys don't live in the heart of Steelers country like I do, okay? And I'm telling you that there are a lot of fans that are going to love this thing. Mm-hmm. Because that one simple change is more than enough for them to go out and get this jersey, because it represents the steel curtain, the mighty 70s teams, and that's going to be enough. These Steelers fans, and I know that a lot of Cleveland and a lot of Ohio fans, I mean, like people like our friend McCarthy, hate Pittsburgh fans, but they are loyal. They're very smart about their teams. They're well informed, and they're going to love this, and that's who it's aimed at. It's not aimed at the general public. It's not. It's a gift to them. And it's a perfect gift to them.
I get that, but I'm with Zach on it. Like, if they really want to do this, just make this like the new full-time look.
I completely agree with that. I've been saying that since they switched the italicized numbers.
Well, okay, I like the italicized numbers, but I'm willing to strike a compromise with all of you block number fans. I will accept the block numbers, but you've got to keep the Steelers chest patch, the logo patch that they put on the front of the jersey.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I guess that's the other difference. Okay.
Yeah, they took that off too.
Yeah, and the sleeve stripes are slightly different.
Are the sleeve stripes? I can't even tell.
They're probably
slightly.
bigger.
Yeah, like are you looking at the thing right now?
No, I know it by memory.
All right. Okay, so here's what the regular Steelers jerseys are, or yeah, the regular Steelers jerseys are. There's a little bit more black in the striping.
I guess.
Yeah.
I get like.
Yeah, the biggest difference is the fonts and not having the patch on the front.
Like, yeah, I guess I could see that, but like, again, I'm with you, Zach, as like an alternate uniform. Like, the whole idea of like the alternate uniform is supposed to be like
there's more
something
white
that changes.
There seems to be more white in the sleeve stripes than
That's right. I think the smaller stripes are slightly bigger. The black and white stripes are both bigger.
They definitely are, because that's what they looked like back then.
Also, I do want to give props to the Steelers in that I believe they are the only team that still weaves the fabric into the sleeves of their jerseys to make their stripes, whereas like the rest, like all the other teams that have sleeve stripes, do the Packers thing of just sort of putting those plastic-looking decals over the sleeves.
You know what the other thing that bothers me, that every time I look at these things, they look like the black Packers.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams did back then.
And I know, but like...
And to be fair,
because
Iowa,
the Steelers have changed.
I know.
Based
their uniform on this. It's not the other way around.
I'm not. When I was saying that they remind me of Iowa, that was just kind of a joke. I didn't even think that really, because a lot of these pictures that they put out have those filters on them to make them look 70s, and to me it just looks like the photo was discolored and this is an old Packer uniform.
I do like, though, going off what you said earlier, Zach, how if you go to the CCSLC news story for this, you scroll down to the bottom, it has related stories, and one of them is the speculation, where it goes through all of these weird, wacky, alternate like ideas that the Steelers could use, and then they just go with, it's the same uniform, only with different numbers.
Well, I don't even know that the Steelers were planning on making a big deal out of this, is that so much as that we make a big deal out of it because it's what we do.
I mean, I think that the way that Uniform News has...
And they're calling it a throwback, not an alternate. It's a throwback.
Right.
It's
because they don't have an alternate otherwise. This is their throwback. And I think this is one of those things that had they not made a release about it, the only people that would notice would be us.
No, again, you'd be surprised. There are, I know it's hard for you to believe this, but there are a lot of, this is a kind of a thing with Steeler fans. There are some that like the italicized numbers, and there are some that want the block numbers back. So this is it's a bigger deal with Steelers fans, I think, than you guys realize. And to you guys, it seems like it's just, okay, they changed the number font, big deal, or, that's kind of silly. But to Steelers fans, this is a big deal. I can't wait to see them, because this is what they're supposed to look like in my mind. You guys grew up with the italicized numbers. To you, those are the Steelers. To me, this is what they look like.
I get it if it's purely an aesthetic preference, but like a lot of people tend to take the view that, oh, well, this is the block numbers. That was the look of the Steelers dynasty, and I'm like, it's not like the rounded italicized numbers have been associated with failure. They got 2 Super Bowls in that look.
Oh, I know. This is purely aesthetic to me. I much prefer the block numbers to the italicized ones on this uniform. Simple as that. I've said that from day one. I mean, you can go back and find my very first ever best and worst of the week, and I promise you I brought it up. I just prefer the block numbers. I think they look better.
Yeah, and maybe it very well is a bigger thing among Steeler fans than Mike and I are giving it credit for, and that's great for Steelers fans. I'm just, as someone that's not a Steelers fan, just, it's kind of...
Well, it probably seems completely silly to you guys.
Yes.
Like, I get trying to go to the championship look, but when the championship look is really not different than what you are normally, it's
the current look has championship cachet. Like, they've won 2 Super Bowls in it. It's
one of those things where, like, to me, it seems silly that they would change this, but then you have to go back further. It's like, well, why did you even bother with the italicized numbers in the first place?
Because they match the helmet. That was the reasoning for it.
So the numbers are still going to be different.
Italicized on the helmet, yeah.
The number font that they currently wear has always been the Steelers' number font on the numbers.
On the helmet.
And they always mismatched. And I guess at some point in the 90s, they were like, what if we just match the numbers?
Nike did that.
Yeah, that I kind of like that then. Team italic numbers.
I'm me. I'm not one that everything doesn't have to be symmetrical with me. It doesn't have to be like, okay.
Look. I think number fonts are out of all of the shit Nike's done, slightly tweaking the Steelers numbers is by far the least egregious.
Oh, no argument there. And I'm with you guys. I think that the italicized look is a very, very good look. I just prefer this one. That's all. It's like with the Rams, like the Rams blue and gold throwbacks, great look. I like the blue and whites better. That's all.
By the way, there has been some movement with the Rams, a bit. They're pushing hard on the league to try and let them wear different jerseys.
Why don't they just make the damn switch? They're allowed to now.
They're waiting for the new stadium.
The way I understand it is that if the Rams wanted to, they could go with the throwback look full time next season, but it would mean they can't change in time for the new stadium.
Yeah. So so what's the news on the jerseys, Zach?
So what the new proposal that they're trying to put to the league is to let them they're basically trying, the only jersey they're trying to legislate out of their system is the navy one. Right. Because they can live with the white one, and they can live with the throwback, and they can live with the color rush. The navy jersey is the thing that throws a wrench into the whole thing.
With the gold numbers that ruin everything.
Yeah.
Right. So from what I understand, this year on the road, they will not have to wear the navy jersey at all on the road this season. So they've already got that out of the way. And what they're trying to do is to petition the league for an extra throwback game and an extra color rush game, so that they can wear the throwbacks more and the color rush more.
Right.
And to try and cover all the home games with throwbacks and with color rush, and maybe the white jersey once or twice. That would be great. So that's their new proposal. But one way or another, it doesn't look like they're going to be wearing the navy this year. But that's the one that they're trying to fight the league on. Look, you see how bad this makes us look, and then the league would argue back, and I know plenty of people have. Well, then you shouldn't have changed the helmet and pants. Agree to an extent. You shouldn't have done that. Probably could deal without that.
But I also think too, when they made that change, they weren't thinking that the league was going to be so unwilling to budge on the whole matter.
Well, the way that the Rams, I've heard the Rams say that essentially they did not think the uniforms are going to be such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why
the other thing.
That's why they were like, oh, we'll just change the uniforms when we open the new stadium. But then they got to LA, and it was clear that everyone wanted new uniforms, but they had already made plans for the stadium, and they've been trying to compromise since then.
Well, then
I think something else they said too, and I don't know if this has ever been confirmed or not, but supposedly when they moved, there's a provision in the NFL rules that would allow them to change jerseys upon moving with no penalty, right?
Yes.
And so they had the option of going to the throwbacks full time then, but they said, it's probably not going to be as big of a deal as other people would have you think. Turns out it's actually a pretty big deal, and so they kind of painted themselves into this corner, definitely. But I don't know.
If they could just get rid of that little bit of gold in the white jersey, they'd be fine.
Yeah, and
they dumped it out of the pants. It's gone.
The thing that was confirmed at a season ticket holder event last week is that the new jerseys will be the blue, yellow, and white. Those will be the colors on the jerseys, according to the CEO of the team.
Yeah.
So, and basically what that means is that we kind of all know how this is going to go, right? The regular jerseys will be the blue and gold. The alternate throwback will be the white jerseys. The fearsome foursome era, the ones that you want, Greg.
Right.
And then the color rush jersey of some kind.
Well, while we're talking,
I still like the color. I think the color rush looks pretty good if you just pair it with some white pants.
Yeah, I'm not ready to make that jump. I don't know about having a white the yellow be the primary.
Nah, not as a primary. No,
it's a fine alternate look. It's not the Rams to me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
While we're talking about uniforms, there's been word. I think I talked about this a couple months back, but word has it that the Browns are dumping the Browns word mark off their pants because you're allowed to do that. You can make changes to the pants.
Right, like the Rams did.
Obviously, as we've seen with the Rams, you can pretty much change everything except the jerseys.
Right, so the Browns are going to do that.
Because they don't sell the pants.
The Browns are going to get rid of the Browns word mark on the pants. And
Vegas just hit the post again. Sorry.
But anyway, they're going to get rid of the brown on the pants, which I think will help those uniforms immensely. And word has it they're going to try to wear the white combo as much as possible because they want to get this look behind them as quickly as they can.
Well, okay. Talked about this before, but I want to repeat it. There was a story. The story where this was first floated had someone in the Rams organization say that they wanted to get rid of the pants that said Browns down that said Browns on the side, and they wanted to do this because they felt that the current look that they had that Nike designed for them was a mistake, and that they wanted to do something closer to their classic look.
Right.
Well, then why the hell did you change in the first place, you schmucks?
All right, hey, beats me. Beats me.
Because here's what's going to happen. Nike's not just going to release the old Browns uniform.
No.
They're just not going to do that. So you're going to end up with a Browns uniform that kind of looks like the classic uniform everyone likes, only it won't be as good.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Well, and there's also been a lot of talk of going back to a white helmet. Now, you want to watch a fan base lose its collective shit, change that helmet and watch what happens. You've already screwed up badly enough by changing the uniform to begin with. And now you want to go and get rid of the one thing that you've, no pun intended, hung your hat on this entire time, which is the helmet as your logo, and you want to change it? Come on.
I also love how they have said that the contrasting stitching is actually a problem for the players.
Yeah.
Because it gets caught on their pads when they're putting the jersey on. Good job.
I tell you, if they wanted to do a switch where they went in the direction of the old uniform but didn't want to just go back to that, their color rush jersey is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's brown with just orange numbers and orange stripes, but I mean, I can live with that. They screwed up. They screwed up bad.
I just loved reading that article where, like, the Browns CEO or someone in the team was saying, yeah, we want to get back to a look that's closer to our traditional look. Well, then why'd you change?
Yep. So anyway, that's it. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube. And I think that's all of them, right? So we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Later.
Adios.